Solitude, the capital of all of Skyrim, currently ruled by Jarl Elisif the Fair. The reason she rules for the moment is because her husband, the actual High King of Skyrim, High King Torrik, was recently murdered by Ulfric Stormcloak as a vie for the throne. This event has now plunged Skyrim into a full-blown civil war. Ulfric fears that if the Great Moot were to convene in order to decide the new High King, then by tradition, Jarl Elisif would be elected, and because of this, Ulfric has not allowed a moot to happen, but instead is now marching his armies all across the province in the pretense of war, when in reality, he simply wants to have all the other Jarls under his thumb, so that when the time comes to vote for the new High King, the Jarls have no choice but to elect him out of fear of being killed. His concerns, however, are reasonable, as are those from the Empire, but this dichotomy is what keeps the city alive, and most quests and NPCs in this area are intrinsically linked into this civil war. I have gathered 5 interesting details that you might not know about Solitude. Number 1. The marriage between Victoria Vichy and Asker Snowshod takes center stage during the questline of the Dark Brotherhood. In there, you're supposed to murder Vittoria in order to force the Emperor to personally visit Solitude. What you might not know is that the marriage might actually be a politically fueled marriage, not one for love. The biggest and most direct of all the clues is the fact that Vittoria is actually sleeping with another man. Aquilius Aresius is a very minor character, with literally no quest or event attached to him. If you do go to Vittoria's house, however, you will find him not only living in her house, but actually sleeping in her same bed. Both characters share very similar moral compasses, claiming that they prefer to make their own way in life. In this case, Vittoria would rather marry rich out of her own ability, rather than simply use her cousin's money, the cousin being Emperor Titus Mede. The groom, Asker Snowshod, really has no reason to be marrying Vittoria if not for political and economical purpose. His entire family supports Ulfric. His father was a Stormcloak soldier, his mother is a priestess of Talus. Hell, his sister literally died under Ulfric's army as a battle maiden. Asker, however, is a businessman, as he always likes to say, doing whatever it takes to make money, including angering his family and marrying politically. He does have a strong distaste for Ulfric, and claims that Ulfric is only causing mayhem for his own gains, something that Asker would like to stop if possible. And having a powerful rich family that typically supports the Stormcloaks suddenly back the Empire would be a great swing, especially in the city of Riften, a place crucial in the war effort. But who would actually go out of their way to put these two together? Who in the background would actually gain from all this to go through the effort of setting this political marriage? Well, if you dig deep enough, you'll discover that Asker not only works in the Blackbriar meadery, but he's actually a partner to Maven Blackbriar. In fact, it was him that gave Maven the capital to start this entire enterprise in the first place. Interestingly enough, do you know who becomes the Jarl of Riften if the Empire wins? Yep, the very same Maven Blackbriar, the one who plays 5D chess in the background of this entire game. There's some great depth in this game, dog. Number 2. Political intrigue runs rampant in the Blue Palace. There are secrets around every corner, rumors and ploys abound where you don't look, and there are lots of characters in here that just freaking hate each other. Now, normally as the Dragonborn, you would have no reason to go about killing any of these NPCs, since there are no quests that would give you said reason. Now, you might not know some of the more intricate details that pop up when you actually become a little naughty and go killing those who do not need to be killed. The two Thanes of the court of Elisif are bitter rivals, since they share completely different ideologies. Thane Bryling claims that they should leave the Empire to fight its own war, instead of using Solitude's coffers and soldiers, whereas Thane Eriker is the complete opposite, severely opposing Ulfric. If you were to kill Thane Bryling, then Thane Eriker would actually secretly send you a letter, claiming to know what you did and that he approves of your murder. The intrigue doesn't stop there. You see, Eriker literally owns the entire city, similarly to Maven Blackbriar does with Riften. He claims that every single shop in this city owes him money, and and that those that don't is because he already owns them. He, however, is a major a-hole, constantly raising everyone's rent for no reason and being a jerk to every single person he can. There are even quests in the game that have you discover the fact that Eriker actually has dealings with the Thieves Guild and uses them to frame his competitors with illicit substances. If you kill him, his own sister will send you a letter thanking you for doing such, claiming that he, in quotes, will not be missed. Oh, and also, Thane Brightling has a secret relationship with the steward, number 3. Svari Stentor is the court wizard of the Blue Palace, and she's actually been in this position for a very long time. She raised Torek since he was a child and taught him a fair amount of things. Overall, she's extremely well respected in the palace and also is indispensable to the war effort, having others claim that her wards and divinations are crucial to the defense of the city. She, however, holds an extremely dark secret. Because she's so good at her job, the palace offers her a lot of freedoms that other mages wouldn't get. In fact, every so often she will take a volunteer from the prisons, Svari claiming that it's all for her magical testing. These people seldom ever come back. In fact, Melaron claims that being decapitated by the headsman may not be the worst way that Solitude jail prisoners die, almost as if he knows of all the insane experiments that Svari does to these unfortunate souls. The plot twist is, however, that she actually doesn't experiment on them. See, Melaron very keenly said, and I quote, "Svari Stentor has a grasp of magical theory that I would never have expected from a human, even a Breton." End quote. See, that is because she is actually neither. Svari is, in fact, a vampire. Her vampiric form has been kept completely secret from the rest of the palace, and she has been able to keep her human beauty thanks to the fact that she can freely feed on prisoners. She is particularly good at hiding it too, even giving the Dragonborn a quest to kill vampires in Pine Moon Cave. Her true goal is, however, unknown, since when all the Thanes are attempting to convince Jarl Elisif of the dangers of Potema, the Wolf Queen, for some reason Svari claims that her divinations produce no threat coming from that place. Potema is, of course, a master necromancer, so maybe she has some kind of kinship to her, as she attempts to protect her. I have always admired her, however, not for any of these facts, but for how eloquent she is at explaining the point of view of the Empire supporters, or specifically, those that side against Ulfric. Here, listen to this.
I was, to my shame. The whole court was in attendance. I've seen much in my time, but that was a gruesome day. Because Ulfric needed a symbol. Someone he could defeat that represented the Empire. The White Gold Concordat, the banning of Talos worship. Toreg's father Islot had held Skyrim together for nearly 25 years. When he died, Toreg became that symbol. No, even after Islot died, the Moot voted to make Toreg High King of Skyrim. But Ulfric was at that Moot, continually talking about Skyrim's independence in terms just shy of treason. I don't think Ulfric knew how much Toreg respected him for that. If Ulfric had asked Toreg directly to stand up, to declare independence, Toreg might have done it. Because the Dominion is a sleeping beast that Skyrim cannot slay alone. Because many Nords are part of the Imperial Army even now. Because the food and resources we get from the Empire are important to our people. Because even if we can't openly worship him, Talos the god was once Tiber Septim the man, and this is his empire. And Toreg wasn't ready to let it fall apart.
It's a really good explanation. Number 4. Svari is one of the children that play outside in the middle of Solitude. She sort of adds life to the streets as you see her running around having fun. She, however, is not very fond of her parents, as both of them are currently experiencing hardships in terms of money. This causes the child to ask the Dragonborn if he can be her dad, a question that typically gets brushed off by most players as just some silly side comment, especially since the actual dialogue doesn't really lead anywhere. You might not know, however, and as dark as this sounds, that this is actually possible. If you put your dark mind and heart into it, you can actually go ahead and kill her parents. If you do so, she will actually be sent into the Honor Hall orphanage, where then you could adopt her. It's really, really dark, you guys, really dark. Now, her dad happens to be the Fisherman of Solitude, but as we previously said, the business is not going so well. He has a rival though, a woman named Yala who sells produce directly opposite to him. If you kill her, Svari's dad, Advar, will send you a letter telling you how glad he is that you killed her, though it is never explicitly said or understood why he would be. I mean, sure, she is kind of a competitor, but she sells tomatoes, which is in no way a substitute for fish. So why would he want to kill her? If you start digging deep, you might discover why. It turns out that Yala is actually dating the Executioner. Now, this is not explicitly said in the game, but Attar, the headsman, sleeps every night in her home. The clues are all there when you go into the creation kit, and you see that both of them are categorized as being in a relationship. But why is this important? Well, the headsman executed Rockveer, who happens to be the brother of Atvar's wife. In essence, his brother-in-law. This execution has completely destroyed Advar's wife emotionally, and she has been inconsolable. This would give plenty of reason for Advar to want to harm Yala, as that would give Attar a taste of his own medicine. You might think I'm going too far on this one, but the thing is, there was actually a script in the game where Advar would send a letter to you asking if you might be down for some killing. Booyah! Number 5. The Civil War questline was supposed to be incredible, way more dynamic and involved than what it currently is. There would have been possibilities of you actually losing invasions of certain cities, pushing the enemy deeper into the fortresses of the side that you picked. Essentially, you could have actually lost the Civil War. There was also supposed to be sieges of way more cities than what the game currently offers. All in all, a lot of it was scrapped for quality or time purposes. To keep the Civil War questline simple, a massive quest was removed from Boethia. You see, the Daedric Prince of Plots and Deceit had a quest that would have you assassinate the Jarl of Solitude. This quest was later removed as it would conflict too much with the Civil War questline. The quest would have been called Boethia's Biting, and in fact, there's still some leftover features of this quest remaining in the game. After having performed the quest and assassinated her, talking to Stormcloak soldiers will yield the added line of, "Even the nobility of Oblivion favors our cause," which would claim to the fact that Boethia commanded the death of Elisif, and that became popular knowledge among the civilians. You can also see this leftover coding in the fact that if you do happen to use console commands to kill Elisif, then Erikr actually becomes the Jarl. Something that could never happen in the vanilla game, since Elisif is considered to be essential, which forbids Dragonborn from actually being able to kill her. The fact that it is there coded in the game to have Erikr take over in case of Elisif dying also implies that there were plans to have her killed, but were later scrapped. Alright guys, that's gonna be it for this video. I would like to thank my Patreons for making this happen, and especially Bryson Alexander and Baker Dylan for supporting me on the $25 level. If you want me to mispronounce your name as well, then be sure to head on over to patreon.com/MrRhexx and support me there just like they did. I am on fire, guys. I am actually uploading videos. Like, what is even going on right now? Bye.